Back again. Carney. I was glad to get home. I was jealous and miserable. Jealous and miserable, why? Okay, jealous. We knew that he was jealous of his cousin Isaac because Isaac could do cartwheels and backflips. Okay, but miserable, yes, because in the last page we found that when Gary started to do cartwheel, what happened? Remember? Yes, the shoes flew off and also the tape. So Gary started to feel miserable. Okay, guys, let's listen.
I was glad to get home. I was jealous and miserable, but the next day I found a pair of old vinyl slippers in the closet that were sort of like gymnastic shoes. I pushed my feet into them, tugging and wincing because they were too small.
Okay, Gary still wanted shoes, okay, because he still wanted to do cartwheels. So he started searching everywhere until he found, or finally he found an old vinyl slippers, plastic slippers in the closet in the room, which were sort or a kind of gymnastic shoes, okay? I pushed my feet into them, tugging and pointing because they were too small. Gary wanted to wear the shoes, and he tried to push his feet inside the shoes. Look, tugging and wincing. Wincing? What's wincing? This is the facial expression when you feel pain. If I feel pain, yes, this is the expression, wincing, because they were so small. So the shoes, they were so small, I took a few steps admiring my feet, which looked like floated water balloons. Now, I have two questions for you. Okay, how was Carney? Or how was Gary? Sorry, Gary? Yes, now he felt jealous and he was miserable. Miserable why? Yes, because he failed to do cartwheels, because when he did cartwheels, his shoes flew off and also his tape. Now, the second question, which is, what did Carney decide to do? He decided to search for, yes, gymnastic slippers because he wanted to do cartwheels. Okay? And how was the slippers? They were so small. Okay? Back again.
I took a few steps, admiring my feet, which looked like bloated water balloons, and went outside to do cartwheels on the front lawn. A friend skidded to a stop on his bike, one cheek fat with sunflower seeds. His mouth churned to a stop. He asked why I was wearing slippers on a hot day. I made a face at him and said that they were gymnastic shoes, not slippers. He watched me do cartwheels for a while, then rode away doing a wheelie.
Okay, now listen. Now Gary started to do cartwheels, and suddenly one of his friend skidded. Skid means to slide without control. Skidded, to slide without control. A friend skidded to a stop on his bike, one cheek fat with sunflower seeds. Yes. So he came suddenly, and he was surprised. And then he asked why I was wearing slippers on a hot day. Gary made a face at him and said, yes, they were gymnastic shoes, not slippers. Gary was angry, of course. He watched me doing cartwheels for a while, then rode away. Then he went away. Now the question is, why was Gary angry of his friend? Yes, because he wanted to make fun of him when he asked why he was wearing slippers on a hot day. Gary was angry, but after this, his friend watched him doing cartwheels and then rode away. Okay, listen again.
I returned inside. I looked for tape to wrap my wrists, but could find only circle bandages in the medicine cabinet. I dipped my hands in flour to keep them dry and went...
Okay. He went again, and now Gary wanted to look for a tape. He wanted a tape because he wanted to wrap his wrist. Again, he searched for a tape because he wanted to wrap his wrist, but could find only circle bandage. Again, he found some circle medical bandage, which he used as a tape around his wrist. And later he tripped, or he put his hands in flour because he wanted to make his hands dry very good. I dipped my hands in flour to keep them dry and went back outside to do cartwheel. And finally, after much hesitation, a backflip that nearly cost me my life. Yes, so he used some medical bandage to make a tape, and later he put his hands on flour, because he wanted to make his hands, he wanted to make his hands dry to do cartwheels and backflip. What will happen? Okay, when he started to do cartwheel and backflip, it would nearly cost him his life. It was so dangerous, and he was going to die. Okay, so we have a question now, which is, what did Gary use as a tape? Yes, of course, very good. Gary used medical bandage. What else? What did Gary use to make his hands dry? He put his hands in flour. Very good, to keep them dry. Then he went back outside to do cartwheels. And finally, after hesitation, very fast, he did backflip. After he did backflip, he was gonna die. That nearly cost him his life. How? Listen again.
When I landed on my head, I crawled to the shade, stars of pain pulsating in my shoulder and neck. My brother glided by on his bike, smooth as a kite. He stared at me and asked why I was wearing slippers. I didn't answer him. My neck still hurt. He asked about the flour on my hands, and I told him to leave me alone. I turned on the hose and drank cool water. I was glad to get home.
After Gary did cartwheels and backflip, and after he landed on his head, and then he went to the shade, his brother glided, or he rode on his bike, smooth as a kite, like a kite. He stared at me. When you stare is to look at a person for a long time, and asked me why I was wearing slippers. I didn't answer him. My neck still hurt. After doing these dangerous movements, Gary's neck still hurt. He asked about the flour on my hands, and I told him to leave me alone. Why? Because Gary now is sad. He felt pain and he wanted to be alone. I turned on the hose and drank cool water.